Just so everybody's clear, we're now recording.
I know. I can see the red
Gaston's
spot.
been waiting for this moment for a long time.
I'm very excited.
All right, welcome to the Practical Pistol Show, everybody. My name is Ben. As always, just because we have special guests, I don't do guests a whole lot, like at all. But we have Barrett. You're better known as True Exodus, right, on Instagram?
Yes, sir.
All right. People might be wondering who this guy is, why this guy's on, because I find your Instagram account fascinating, sir.
Thank you.
So you do, let's say, what's cool about his Instagram account? We got appendix carry, fast shooting, close range, a lot of dummies. I love the props.
Dummies are cool.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
the dummies with the little blood packs in them sometimes. That's great
Oh,
stuff.
those are classic.
Yeah.
I like that stuff. So we've got you on to talk about the thing you're most knowledgeable about in the world, which is you. Also, let me introduce you to the other guys. The guy sitting next to me, Gaston Kindi Valegra.
Yeah.
Is that how we pronounce that?
No, but
Well,
that's
you
okay.
do the
in
pronunciation
US.
for it.
I'm just Gaston.
Okay.
Oh,
I shoot guns. I shoot IDPA, IPSC, and USPSA. That's about it.
Well, Gaston's from Buenos Aires,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
we visit each other. So last winter I went there. This winter he's here. So
That's down south, like Argentina.
yeah, so he just happens to be at my house while we're
Yeah.
doing this.
That's an accident.
Yes, that is an accident. From Portland, Mr. Gabe White, the king of junk carry. Maybe not after this podcast. We're going to have to discuss that.
I know. Hey, I'm really glad to meet you, Barrett, and glad to be on again, Ben and Matt and Gaston. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Gaston's been Argentine national champion how many times?
4, I think, 3, 4, and I also won the IDPA thing. I don't know if somebody cares, but
Nobody cares.
I just wanted to mention it.
Right on, man. Right on.
And the other guy, Barrett, who you may not know, is Matt Hopkins, competitive shooter guy. Pretty good competitive shooter, Matt.
I just won L10. I mean,
He doesn't know why that's funny.
just laugh.
Or do you know why that's funny?
L10 is an IDPA division.
It's a joke division. I think he beat 3 other people at a big match.
Oh,
It
that's
was 10
USPSA?
other people. Thank you.
Whatever. So Matt also works at CZ USA. Do you do shipping still, or what do you do now, Matt?
I work at CZ USA.
You won't even say what you do.
I don't want to say it. No.
It's secretive.
It is.
So Matt,
Not really.
So anybody looking for a sponsorship, email Matt because he handles out.
That's mean.
I can't
Don't
hear you
do that,
anymore because you
people.
deactivated your microphone.
It's shipping at benstegerproshop.com.
Oh. Yeah, that's okay. All right, let's get into it. So Barrett, I want if guys got to check out your Instagram account, which they totally should do. I'm telling you guys, it's wild. The comments are awesome. Like, oh my, it's amazing. So it's just TRU Exodus on Instagram, yeah.
yes, sir.
Okay, so how long have you been running an account on there? Like 2 years, something like that?
Yeah, just ever since the end of 2014, really the beginning of April of 2015.
So just so people know the timeline, in 2015, you were just
I had
doing the preacher deal,
I had 500 Instagram followers.
and you were only preaching, strictly speaking,
No, I've been teaching for about 6 years now.
teaching shooting.
Yeah, just teaching general gun safety. It was one of the things that I did to help people get into the church, right?
Well,
I
what do you mean?
thought, what?
This is interesting. So what do you mean by that? So you just set up like
Well,
at a range?
so my full-time job, right, is that I'm a preacher, and I have 2 bachelors and a master's, and I focus. I mean, I'm a senior minister at a Christian church. That's what I do, and so I organize people and teach the Bible and things like that. And my main goal, is to bring people to Jesus and let them know.
You have 2 bachelors and a master's?
That's right.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
He's better educated than you
I
are.
don't know
almost.
what a bachelor is. Oh yeah,
That's
I
the-
know.
that's
I have
before
2.
you.
I have 2 too.
I know,
I'm
but
a
you.
forensic scientist and a lawyer.
Okay, stop. Well, he has a master's on top of that. He's very smart.
Yeah, I didn't finish mine.
Oh,
That's
well,
very
so
good,
you're the
Robert.
smartest guy here, Barrett.
I don't think that's true at all.
I think it is.
got a very narrow field that I'm very good at. So.
Don't we all?
I was trying to find out a way to get people in my church, and so I'm a natural teacher and communicator. I can communicate how people can do things, and so I started. I was taking a lot of classes when I was going throughout college myself. I took a class a month for about 4 years. I had a part-time job just to pay for classes and ammo.
You're talking strictly shooting classes.
That's it. Strictly.
Hopkins, stop it with the microphone.
So everything from like fundamental handgun, things like that. And then I just felt like I could communicate, hey, 4 firearms rules of safety, don't shoot yourself, this is how you hold it, things like that. And that was the caveat to have people come on the range at church and then say, hey, why don't you come to church on Sunday mornings? So
wait, does your church have a range at it?
That's correct.
I've never heard of that before.
That's my kind
That's
of church.
awesome.
That's my kind of church. I don't know about you, Gabe, but that's my kind of church.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah,
heard of
man.
That will bring me near Jesus for sure.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So that's basically it. And then I was already teaching my CCW fundamental by the time I started getting bigger on Instagram, and then.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Yes, sir.
You shoot very well. I've seen your videos. That's why I follow you. What did you learn to shoot that well? Like the basics, the fundamentals. Okay.
Yeah. So ever since really 2006, when I started carrying a handgun, I just was all I could take in Cincinnati at the time were taking from these low-level instructors that were only basic classes. So once a month, I was taking from just this guy, and it was all, hey, this is how you want to have a thumb score grip. Well, nobody told me why I wanted to have a thumb score grip. You want to press the trigger really slowly. Nobody told me why I need to press the trigger really slowly. Things like that.
Sounds familiar.
So, I'm a professional scholar. So these things naturally, like, why does the brain work like this? Why, how do I shoot better and things like that? And so through trial and error and doing it, shooting twice a week and then once a month, or taking a class once a month, it became something that I was very familiar with after a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. So.
Okay, so Instagram kind of took off for you, and then what kind of happened?
Well, then to be honest, I had my second child. Her name's Fiercely. And I was making $29,000 a year as a preacher, and I couldn't afford my kids' health insurance. And somebody told me, you charge way too little for your classes, and you should charge more. And as I was growing Instagram, I had the need for people, hey, I want you to come out and teach this class. We got 10 guys. Or, hey, we want you to come out here. And I was being pulled in all these different directions. And so when I could find out time for preaching and to go and teach, I would. And I started making a reasonable amount of income from this. And that was kind of the thing that took off from there. And then from there, I kept growing. And now when I would save up so much money to spend on handguns, people were like, hey, we want to give you a handgun. And I was saving up so much money to buy ammo so I could shoot. And people were like, hey, we want to give you ammo to shoot. All you got to do is tag us. And I don't know any better. So I'm like, heck yeah. Like, that sounds awesome, right? So all these opportunities, God just kind of kept opening up these opportunities over and over again. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'll take them. Like, I didn't really, it was kind of like almost like this dream, surreal thing. Like, why is this happening to me? I don't understand. And yeah, I guess.
How many classes do you reckon you'll do this year?
I'll do one class a month in a different location. So like January, I was in SHOT Show. February, I was in Southern California. March, I was in South Florida and Miami. And right now, I'm in Dallas. So that's where I'm in Dallas. So I'll do once a month someplace else in the state. I'll do once a month at home at the church, and then I usually train 2 to 3 privates, 3 or 4 privates a year, and then I'll have 4 or 5 police officers that I'll work with one-on-one a week. They usually come out to the house, and I do that stuff free of charge. And it's a lot of fun. So I don't know.
So is there still time for preaching with that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh man, I can't. I can't not preach, right? I can't not do what I love.
Well, I know, but I mean, I do the traveling instructor gig too, and I probably do like 60 2-day classes in a year, usually on weekends. I mean, I couldn't be someplace on a Sunday if I wanted to be. You know what I mean?
Well, I have a wonderful associate minister who preaches once a month for me, and my church allows me to do that, and so I'm blessed.
Okay. Well,
Barrett, I think that's awesome, man.
yes.
Thanks, Gabe.
Okay, you want to get into some questions? I like questions.
Well, actually, I had a question because I'm not on Instagram. I'm like, so far in the past, as you know. So I know about
Yeah.
YouTube, and so I looked you up on YouTube because I've seen a couple of your videos on YouTube before, and all I saw a bunch of stuff under the name Parker Fawbush. Is that you or?
That's my first name, and I don't know why my Google
Okay.
account switched it. So Parker Barrett Fawbush.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so that's you I'm seeing there.
Yeah.
I liked I saw the one with the bottle rockets. That was awesome. That's totally cool.
That was
That was the one, yeah?
that was the video that forced me into the industry, and
Is it really?
it was. And people are like, "You're part of the industry now. You're part of it. You're part of the game." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, I don't. It's not true, bro.
I
No,
haven't
you're in it now. Everyone's talking about you, and I'm like, okay.
I haven't been invited into an industry yet.
I was an industry guy pretty much.
No, not from Argentina.
You're an industry guy too. Oh, I was an industry guy here with Bursa.
Oh,
That
that's
was
true.
fun.
Yes, Gaston has worked at Bursa. If
Okay,
that
cool.
matters. It's not that cool. It's
I
okay.
think it's cool. Well,
It's a
Paid
gun.
off, yeah.
It is technically a gun.
But I didn't beat you any. No.
No.
Yeah, well, maybe the Super 6.
Yeah, but that's not a match.
But still with Bursa.
Yeah, the Bursas are.
They're okay.
You actually built an okay one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. What other questions do we have, Mr. Gabe?
Well, so I was curious, and again, maybe I would know the answer to this if I were on Instagram. But Barrett, is your interest in shooting centered around self-defense with handguns, or is it more of a broader interest, or what do you say?
my interest with handguns is to obviously I have a talent, right? I have something that I'm good at, and of course I'm probably not better than the next guy. I don't claim to be better than anybody, right? Because I don't shoot competition or anything like that. And I take my shooting and I use it as I take my shooting and I use it as a big red flag, and I say, hey everyone, look at me, right? And then from this kind of, hey, look at me, I'm able to share with people Jesus, right? And I try to be a positive influence on Instagram. So I try to make better people. So that's with that. But primarily the reason why I shoot is strictly for defense. So I've had a number of instances in my life, which I'm sure you guys are going to ask about, and I'd love to share those with you.
I'm not going to ask, probably.
Okay, good. Well, I've had instances in my life where the instance in my mind was on our college campus. There was a couple, and in Cincinnati they were held up at gunpoint, and she was taken from her boyfriend, and she was raped. And on our campus, 1,200 people, that was just like crazy.
It sounds like home.
I said I could never allow that to happen to my family. I could never allow that to happen to my wife. And so that's my catalyst. That's what drives me, so to speak. But yeah, my shooting, when I shoot, primarily when I focus on getting better, it's focusing on defense. So,
Oh, you live in a dangerous place?
no, not anymore. I did.
You used to? Like, where is that?
Right now, where I live is Evansville, Indiana, which is just outside. And I live in a town of 1,100 people. It's called Poseyville, Indiana. It's very rural, all-white population.
So there's no really a hypothesis there.
No, not until you get to Evansville, which I visit quite frequently.
Yeah, I've been to Evansville. Yeah.
Okay, great.
When I was
Well,
young.
there's like a lot of meth and things in our area, and I always run into drug addicts and people who are strung out and things like that. But they're not really violent people or anything like that. Not to say that they could be, but whatever.
Were you robbed anytime, like gunpoint or something?
No. I've just had I had a home invasion in Cincinnati in 2007.
That's very rare in the U.S.
Yep.
That's normal for Gaston.
Yeah, I was.
No.
I was robbed. At
I'm not
gunpoint,
joking.
Like 3 times.
Okay.
In my trip to Argentina, I did not speak to one adult male who had not been robbed at gunpoint at some point in his life.
No.
That's
Oh
So
my
that,
God.
Every single one.
yeah,
Home
so
invasions
it
are
makes
very
sense
common.
if you want to conceal carry in Argentina. But I
Sure.
was wondering all the time because I have many friends in the USA. He would be one, and
It's not dangerous where I live.
yeah, it's not dangerous at all. He has no hypothesis of conflict. So that's why I was wondering which one. What will drive you to shoot like you do, like and carry all day? Because it's very uncomfortable. Sometimes I carry 24/7, and it's really uncomfortable, especially appendix carry. There's no way I can do that in my car, in the office, or wherever I am. So I do 3 or 4 o'clock, and I was wondering if you carry all the time, and if you do that, why? Which conflict are you imagining that you will
I
have?
carry all the time. I carry all the time, and the reason why is because I have two small children, and I have seen just stuff happen in public with other people, with other kids, things like that. It's just I'm just hypersensitive to those things, right? And because I'm hypersensitive to those things, I won't say it just drives me to want to carry. To me, it's like keys, wallet, cell phone, gun. And if you've ever put on a watch before and you're like, I don't understand, this is kind of weird, right? You wear it for the watch for a couple of weeks, and now you're a watch wearer. And it's the same thing with appendix
Yeah,
carry.
that's true. I couldn't do it with appendix though, but it's true. Once you carry a gun all the time, you get used
It's
to
a part of
to
you.
it being yeah.
Okay. Well, should we field some audience questions?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, good. All right. So one is, what makes your curriculum special compared to other instructors? I think I named some, like Frank Proctor or whatever, Sage Steinman. I don't know who all these people are. But anyway, what makes your curriculum special uh, compared to other guys, I guess?
I would say that my curriculum is nothing special. Matter of fact, it's nothing new. It's the fundamentals of grip, sight, picture, critical. That's really all it is. That's what we spend in our class 3 hours focusing on. I think what
And this is a 2-day class?
What'd you say? No, it's a 1-day class. I teach
Okay.
1-day class, 2-day classes.
Okay.
So like in Dallas, I taught today. I'll teach a 1-day Thursday, 1-day Friday, Saturday Sunday is a 2-day class. So I'll do 36 students or 48 students this week, whatever. But yeah, the things I teach are nothing new. I think what sets me apart from most people, right, is my ability to communicate and to engage the mind and the people, and communicate things in such a way that where people retain, understand, and then apply, right? Because you could be about trigger press and pressing the trigger straight to the rear, right? Or something, you may give me something wonderful, right? Then because you're amazing. But if I can't understand it, retain the information, and then apply the information when I leave, it doesn't really matter, does it?
I suppose not.
Okay, well, I would say that one of the things that makes, one of the things I try to do is just try to communicate effectively.
Okay. Well, I mean,
So I don't think just throw it out there. I don't think that I always encourage people to take other instructing classes. I always encourage people to take other people's classes. I don't think that there's nothing new that I teach. So
some of these questions are a little aggressive in their tone.
Well, wait, I have a question that
Yes, sir.
I was wondering, but it's just out of curious. There's
Sure.
a very, very interesting video in which you are preaching and suddenly you engage a guy. I'm wondering, who is that guy in your mind? Like, is it a jihadist? Is it a robber? What is he? Or
to
is
me,
it just...
for that particular context,
Yeah.
to me, it's something that's actually happened to me while I've been preaching. Somebody who's drunk came in and was cussing up a storm, and I was immediately like, hey, man, what's going on? And then it got very aggressive very quickly, but nothing went to a gunfight, nothing went to hands-on. It was just, verbal de-escalation, all those different types of things. Verbal shoot-up. And so that was kind of what was going in my mind, something I'd already lived through.
Okay.
So is a drunk
Yeah,
guy?
I hope
not
you
not
don't
a
shoot the
jihadist.
drunk guy.
No,
No,
we
I
don't.
didn't shoot any drunk guys.
Okay.
Not like Alvaro.
Oh,
Can't talk about that. Okay.
No, we got some nasty shit going on. Okay.
Okay. I don't know that you believe this, but this guy asked this thing in a tone that makes you think it. Like, all right, do you believe? I'll ask you this way: do you believe that competition shooting, specifically action pistol, should be a separate school of thought that can't be that you don't apply to defensive situations, or do you not think that? I guess that's the best way to ask it.
Let me try to answer that question by giving you an example I just lived through. So I train jujitsu, and the type of jujitsu that I train under my professor is more like sport jujitsu. It's for competition, right?
Yeah.
And I just went to train with the Valente brothers in Miami, and they all focus on Gracie self-defense jiu-jitsu. And I found that a lot of those things overlapped, right? So I found that I did things really, really well once I got on the ground. But when I was standing up and they were sparring and striking, I was just like, this is not, well, I don't do this kind of jiu-jitsu. What are you guys doing, right?
And the sparring
I'll get on the ground with you, right?
The sparring jiu-jitsu is the competition stuff?
No, the sparring jiu-jitsu is the more the defense, where we're standing up and I'm striking and things
Oh.
like that. Oh,
Like, more like MMA.
Oh, we were just going to grapple and I'm going to throw you, or things like that. So what I found was that my sport immediately transferred over into my defense. It helped me and gave me a lot of details. But at the same time, I walked into the defensive mindset not thinking defensively. I walked in thinking of my paradigm or my perspective of shooting, or my perspective of rolling, which was, hey, I'm rolling for defense. Or sorry, I'm rolling for sport, not defense. So when I went to the defensive aspect, it caught me off guard real fast because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a totally different mindset. But I realized that once I was in the game and once I was rolling around, a lot of those things transferred over very well. So to answer your question, I believe that there are a lot of things that transfer over extremely well, and I think that there are two different schools of thought, but I don't think that there's a competition shooter out there that's serious about defense that doesn't understand that these are two different things, right? But that they can easily merge and to blend into each other, that they overlap very well.
I agree.
I think that they're good dance partners.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, I agree. I have nothing to say about that.
Yeah. One guy asked a question. I'm not sure you would know, but I don't know what you know about competition shooting. But this guy asks, how could competitive shooters improve their training?
Improve the fundamentals.
That's reasonable.
Improve your mental aspect. Dry fire. That's basically.
I don't know.
Barrett, do you
know.
dry fire for your own practice?
Yes, you do know.
To really share that with a grandmaster on this.
You're not sharing it with me. This question's from some other guy. Like, I don't know.
Well, there you go. That's the best thing I got. So, if just off the cuff, that's the best thing.
What were you?
Do you dry fire for your own practice?
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of stuff do you do in dry fire?
So when I focus on dry fire, I think one of the things that I think about is once I get the holster on, right? Just check the condition of the weapon. What's it look like? What's it feel like? Smell like? Taste like? Those different types of things. I break it down.
What's it taste like?
Yeah, absolutely.
You taste it?
Of course not. It's just a phrase that I say.
Language
I was
barrier.
like, what?
Language
No,
barrier. I don't know
Just
his
a phrase that I
excuse,
hear
but
and just say,
with
listen,
me it's English.
we've got multiple senses that we can put into what we're doing. Why don't we put those senses in and engage those to our fullest degree, right? And so safety check the weapon, things like that. Just go find a nice spot. I've got a place with a good backstop, so I just, I put some dots on. So when I do like target transitions, things like that. But primarily my goal is to rep the autonomic memory response of drawing and driving the gun straight to where I'm looking. And my question is the front sight going to where I'm looking? And are there any problems that I need to address? So a lot of times where I dry fire heavy is when I get a new garment, right? So if I have like a new rain jacket, I want to try to rep that, especially if I'm going out and I know it's going to be rainy tomorrow or something like that. That's what I'll do. Things like that, but primarily I just think about pressing that trigger. I think about trying to get my brain to have that repetition of pressing that trigger. Think about where the reset would possibly be. Just think and focus on those things. The impulse of what the gun would feel like. I do a lot of visualization when I dry fire, if that makes any sense. I don't know if you all I'm sure you all have written chapters about that.
We do a lot of visualization, yeah.
So for me, I do a lot of visualization. It's like I try to see things in my head before they happen and try to perceive what's going on and then execute to the best of my ability. Try to go slow. One of the big things about my dry firing is I take it super snail slow. Like I just go around the house a lot of times, kill doorknobs and light switches when the kids and the family aren't home, and find little small things to focus on, and then just ask myself, hey, is the front sight going where I'm looking? Those different types of things.
Oh,
Do you in the visualization thing? Are you visualizing more the aspects of the gun shooting and the technical process, or is it kind of going into self-defense stuff, like envisioning, some scenario that you're defending yourself in?
I think if Gabe, if from what I understand about you, I think that you do that every time you walk into a store. Right?
he has a plan to kill everyone.
No, I'm looking at the places you need to look to see life and threat cues, all of it.
So you walk into a convenience store, right? You walk into that convenience store and you see two guys and they're just kind of walking around, right? And you realize you're back to the store and you realize that the exit is across and adjacent, all the opposite end of the store, but you can't get to it without passing through these individuals. So now you're starting to think about, hey, how do I exit this place? Because I don't want to be here any longer, right? So you're going through some visualization process, and then you realize, oh, they're laughing and high-fiving each other, and you're like, why did my spider senses just tingle? And so there's that kind of visualization, but primarily for me, I just focus on what the gun mechanics are doing. I think about just the things of what the gun would be doing, the perception behind it, as opposed to, anything else. I like to think about, what does it feel like, all those different types of things. What are my arms doing? I try to be detailed and pedantic about those things because those help me communicate to other people effectively as well.
Cool. So it sounds kind of like you're mostly focused on some really core technical stuff in dry fire, like draw, grip, sights, trigger, a little bit of target transitions.
I don't have like a picture of like hater accounts on my wall, and I'm like, it's not nothing like that. Oh, there's two dudes, and he's got a knife to her throat, and I'm crawling, shoot. I don't think like that. So,
do you do anything, even within the pure technical realm, do you do anything that's a little bit more complex or serial tasking or broader, like, set up a target over here, set up a target over there, draw, shoot it, move and reload, shoot the other one, something like that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Cool.
Okay. One guy asks, what metric are you using for evaluating yourself as an instructor?
Okay, that's good. First of all, you all know this, that as you teach, you grow better in your understanding, your explanation of the content, right?
Yeah.
Because you do it and you find light bulbs that go off. Maybe something that comes out of your mouth and something just clicks with somebody and you're like, hey, I'm going to file that away in my mental codex to use that for later if this person has this problem or another person has this problem again. And then through trial and error, you find these different types of things. So primarily for me, what holds me accountable is that I offer a money-back, ammo-back guarantee. So if you come take my class, it's not what you thought it was. It was boring. It wasn't even fun. You didn't learn anything. All those different types of things. I will give you your money back. I'll give you your ammo back. No harm, no foul. The only thing I ask is that you send me an email and let me know how I can be better. And so that's what holds me accountable, to think to myself, hey, I'm going to do my best to give these people more than what their money's worth is, right? And so from that, that's one of the things that holds me accountable. But another thing that holds me accountable is understanding that as I grow as a shooter, and like I said, I'm nothing special, but as I grow as a shooter, I'm also having the tools, the tips and the tricks and the techniques to pass those along to other people because it's working for me. And so I guess how I evaluate myself as an instructor is, am I growing as a shooter? Am I growing as a communicator? And I think that's one of the things that sets me apart from most instructors, is because I'm a professional teacher. That's what I went to school for. That's what I do as a natural person. And so I'm always trying to preach better. I'm always trying to communicate and teach better. And so that also it'll apply.
Okay.
Cool.
Yes. I don't really see any other I don't know, non-trolling questions, I would say.
Well, if I could interject for a second, I wanted to say that I think that's a really commendable attitude, Barrett, that you try to give people their money's worth and more than that. That's definitely something that I feel as well. I've been in a couple of classes where, as a student, where it was like, 3 hours of training packed into 2 days, and I really would like it if we had done more. So, I just want to say I think that's great.
I appreciate that. My problem was, Gabe, is I was going and I was spending $500, $600 on classes. I was saving up for an entire quarter to take on a preacher salary to take somebody's classes because they were a Navy SEAL or because they were this and this and this. I was overwhelmed with information. I was told war stories that was not applicable to what I was hearing. And I was basically being bombarded with information and I wasn't being taught anything. I had a really good experience, but I wasn't learning anything. And my problem was, why am I giving you money if I'm not learning things? Is this a class or is this an experience? Like, am I, and so how I like to describe it is that you can jump out of an airplane with somebody attached to you and have a really good parachuting experience, but you may learn nothing about skydiving. And so there are classes that I've gone to where it's just, okay, so you jump out of the car and you shoot over the hood and pow, 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 and then you roll around and you do the stack change. And, oh, you got to clear it. And I'm just like, okay, this is great, but you're not teaching tactics that work with a vehicle. It's just here, it's this prop, and it was. I just had
no context.
Experiences.
Isn't that what you want to put on the Instagram account, though?
What?
A cool video of you like shredding stuff over the top of a car?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's very expensive to shred a car in Argentina, but I would do that.
that was that class. Now, see, that class was taught by William Petty. And that was an amazing class where I got to learn vehicle CQB tactics. And that was an amazing class because it was just like, okay, we're not going to do a whole bunch of cool guy stuff. We're actually going to do stuff that works, right? And it was really cool to see the ballistics and see the tactics behind it. I was really impressed with the class. But I just know that a lot of people teach classes and they've got really great backgrounds, but they can't teach worth the beans. And they charge a lot of money, and that's great, but I could not do that in all good conscience. So I had to say something like, hey, listen, I'll give you your money back, give you your ammo back. If you're not completely satisfied, you didn't like today, I'll give it to you. At one time, I would say, if this isn't the best class you've ever taken, I'll give you your money back, give you your ammo back. And once I started being compared to like people like Travis Bailey and all these guys, Proctor, I was like, well, I took a Proctor class last month, and then Haley done with before. I'm like, oh, okay, I better not offer that anymore.
Yeah, you had a lot of people take you up on that?
Never have I ever.
In Argentina, we would take his money.
Yeah, in Argentina, you guys would. You guys are dicks. All right, well, this is good because now we can get into some of let's talk about the haters.
Sure.
As you mentioned, you get a lot of hate, yeah, on the internet.
I do. I think I've blocked so many people now that I think I looked through my block list and I think I have like 50 or 60 people on that block list on Instagram. So I don't even catch wind of it anymore. It's just so.
Okay.
When I said, when I say to people like I like to follow this Instagram account, I mean, I'll be honest with you, a lot of the hate is like what makes it entertaining to follow because I watch a video of you I've been around shooting for a long time. I get it. You do you do a fast draw, shoot a close range target.
That's crazy fast, by the way.
Yeah, it's fast. I mean, I like
it. It is. It's awesome. It's totally awesome for that.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's like Gabe is really fast. I think you might be faster. It doesn't matter. I
agree.
It's a good video. It's not from a competitive shooting perspective, it's not that interesting. That's not really what we do.
Right.
But I like it. I mean, that's fun. And then you read the comments, and it's like, what's going on here? Because
I'll pour it out.
Yes, there are people getting angry about this when it's just they're competitive shooters.
Why are they angry about that?
That's what I'm asking. That is that is the question. We
should have an angry guy in this podcast too.
We should have an angry guy.
Yeah.
I know what the angry guys are like. You don't shoot competition. You don't shoot people.
That doesn't sound very good.
Well, they don't say it like that, but they'll be like, you know what I'm talking about. The guys are like, yeah, you could do that. Yeah, that's an interesting video. but what about this other stuff? You know,
Yeah.
but what about this? You don't do the thing that I want you to do. So I think that's
But,
why.
but how is that not
I
good for
think what
defensive
happens-
shooting? Like you do that with
That's not
blanks
the question.
or what?
You go ahead,
Yeah.
Barrett. Go ahead.
So, if I may, talk,
Yeah, yeah.
I think people hate me sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that, and I'm not 100% sure, so forgive me. A lot of people say it's jealousy, and I dismiss that immediately. I don't think that people are jealous of me. I think that people see what I do, and I think that it holds. I think that it convicts them, and it reveals to them where they're at, that they could be better. And what that does is like, okay, so if I preach to you on Sunday morning, what's going to happen is I'm going to share God's word, and the Holy Spirit is going to convict you, saying, I don't do that. I'm not that good of a husband, right?
Well, I know that already, though.
What happens is these feelings begin to well up, and these feelings are, I'm not this person, and it would take a lot, and so I'm just going to respond emotionally to this as opposed to do some introspection and ask, where am I at? And I think that maybe people who just focus on competition, they don't focus anything on defense, are like, I don't need to do that to defend my family, or something along those lines, and they just have this emotional response. So it happens to me too. I see JJ Rakaza shoot. I see Shane Cooley shoot. And you know what I think? I think I've got so much to do. These guys are so good. And instead of, like, I don't know, I just think, I wish I could do that, right? But wishing does not make it so. I have to be intentional. I have to make the changes. I have to build the habits to be that good. And the problem is that people don't want to do that. And so when they see other people putting in work and getting results, and they're not there yet, or they've been doing this for 30 years and they're not there, or something along those lines, I think that's why people respond that way. But I don't know. That's just kind of what I've gathered over the 2 years. But
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Gabe.
Well, Barry, I wanted to kind of play off of something that you said there. That you see JJ Rakaza and Shane Coley shoot, and you say I have so much work to do. I feel the same way when I watch those guys, or Ben or Matt or Gaston shoot. That's how I feel too. And I'm a defensive guy. I come from that world where we focus on typically narrower stuff that is more likely to apply in self-defense. But as I've kind of expanded and gone, where is there to go from that? And it's to build a much broader skill in shooting and gun handling and movement and barrier use and all the stuff. A lot of the stuff that you see ultimately in USPSA or similar, action pistol shooting sports. And so what I wanted to ask you was, do you see a place for you in competition maybe in the future as a way to broaden your skills? Or is there anything that you would maybe have done differently if you could go back and start again from day one of your handgun involvement? Because I know for me, I did so much defensive training, which isn't without benefit, but I probably could have gotten further faster if I only knew then what I know now. So how do you see that kind of stuff?
So I would, I think that competition shooting would be fun. I'm a competitive person, so I think that would be fun. I would love to do that, right? I have a couple of reasons as to why I don't do it currently right now. Currently right now, the nearest range that offers that is an hour and 10 minutes away, and they host it on the second and fourth Saturday of the month, right? So I'm a full-time preacher. I have a full-time family, and I travel and I teach full-time, right? So if I don't have a church event, if I'm not teaching on the weekend, and if I'm not with my family, then I'm doing jiu-jitsu, and I'm doing a jiu-jitsu competition. So it's like, where do I find the time to do this? Well, if you really wanted to, Barrett, you'd make the time. Absolutely.
That's true.
I totally understand. You will never hear me say anything about not making the time for it, because if you want to do something, you'll make the time for it. The reality is, it's not on my priority list right now, because quite frankly, I would rather make $10,000 shooting a weekend than go shoot at a competition. My family's future and my building of my kids' college education fund, to me, means more than going to compete, right?
Totally understand that.
And so, and then again, my church, doing the weekend events and things like that I do. I do 3 weekend events almost a month sometimes at church. So it's just like, do I want to blow off my church to go shoot a competition? And then it goes into, oh, well, what can we do fun with our family, right? Because I got to be a dad to my kids, I got to be a husband to my wife. And so you layer all of these things. I feel like I've spread way too thin, and everything just takes priority over competition for me at this point. As I grow older, I would love to compete. I think it'd be so much fun to jump into it and to learn something completely new and completely different that I've never done before, to have people walk me through it. I think it'd be amazing. It's just not something I care about doing at this point right now. And I think that if people, understood that I have so many different things that I do and so many different hats I have to wear to so many people, that they would understand that. But so.
I do understand that. I mean, I'm spread thin in maybe different proportions and with different things, but I'm similarly, just there's stuff all the time, and I don't get to shoot competition nearly as much as I would like. So
I'm actually
I sure hear you.
I'm in the same boat as you guys.
Yeah.
Which sounds crazy for me to say, but I don't get to shoot as many matches as I would like to shoot.
Yeah.
Because I have to give up, other things. So it's hard.
You got to train. Well, Barrett, whenever you do get around to it, whenever it does, crack the top, if you got time for like 3 things to do in your life, right? I know how that works. Maybe it's like in your top 10 list, but not your top 3 list, so you don't do it. I totally understand that. But dude, it's still all fundamentals of shooting.
That's right.
Hugely fundamentals of shooting.
I personally, I don't think it would help you at all to do it. To be honest, from a business perspective, it's not going to help you.
Yeah. Well,
you're in a no-win situation, unfortunately for you.
Yep. I didn't go to the military, right? I went to Bible college.
Right?
No.
I mean, if you go shoot a match, like that is a no-win you cannot win. I'm not saying you can't win the match. I'm saying if you win the match, it affirms like, okay, yeah, you're good. And if you don't win the match, if you win the match, people, it's like, it's not that interesting because you're like, well, I have these Instagram videos showing that I'm good at shooting. And then guys will say, well, go shoot a match and really prove it to me. And then you go shoot a match and you win. Then it's like,
they're going to say something.
They'll say something else.
Yeah.
If you go to the match and you don't win, then they're like, well, see, I told you. So you're in that, unfortunately for you, it's not a win situation for you.
Yeah, but at the same time, that would take away from what Gabe is trying to tell me as to why I'd want to go do it in the first place.
Oh yeah, you'd want to go be a better shooter, but you can do that during the week too.
Exactly. So.
No, I mean, I don't think you'd. People are never as good as they would like to be when they go and they start shooting. Yeah. You know what I mean? Never.
Well, I have to perform all the time in class, so I have to shoot groups like this at 25 yards. I've got to be able to pull out and do 3 rounds in under second from a cold start. Every class I do it. I mean, it's, I shoot squares at 5 yards, inch squares at 5 yards, put 3 rounds, bop, bop, bop. Like, I have to do these things because I have to show and demonstrate that, guys, it works. And I want to show you, just listen to what I'm saying and you can apply it. Like,
the class demonstration, I do it a lot. It's different. It's an environment. A class is an environment you control. A match is never the same thing twice. It's not an environment you control.
Absolutely.
You have the skill, but that's not it. It's not ever going to be quite the way you want it to be or quite how you like. And matches are different. I think you do okay, but with what do I know, really? But like I said, it's a no-win situation for you. So if I were you,
I'll take your advice for a while.
By being honest, you can't win. People will say something else, like Gaston said. They're going to say something else.
Yeah, I'm going to say something else.
Yeah, you'll see something else wrong, like no,
that's not true.
Not him, but
no, I think he can do very well. But you will have to spend a lot of money and time and to get where, like what you want to do. Why did you start shooting? You start shooting to be a competitive shooter, or you start shooting to defend yourself. So it's gonna take a lot of time to be good.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into, there's a couple posts on your Instagram page kind of responding to this sort of criticism. This is interesting stuff. This is a good time to ask it. So you posted a meme. So to be clear, have a background but can't shoot. You're okay to teach. And then, but no background, can't shoot, not okay to teach. Oh, wait, what? Or no background but can shoot. So that I think you'd fall into the no background but can shoot,
I think I fall into it too.
right? Because you have to shoot some people or something.
That's
Right?
right. Yeah, I gotta shoot some people.
That's
Well, no,
great.
I mean, right?
Well, if you have
You missed your chance with the drunk
marshmallow
guy.
kill
I'm
a
just
few
kidding.
guys, which we
That's
have,
not nice.
is he supposed to be teaching you like, boom, boom, boom? I
This
shot
one-
3 guys. You know, is that enough?
So I guess I don't know that you'd like to boil down your feelings to a meme. I mean, but you have to for Instagram, of course. But what are you responding to there?
What I was doing is that this meme was going around, and I wanted to respond to it. I think I'd have to go back and kind of look at it because I've just kind of put it out of my mind. But if I think I remember how I was responding, I was responding and saying that in my mind, there are 2 different spectrums. There are people, you find the instructors, right, that can teach really well, but they have no background, right? And then you find the instructors that have the background, but they can't teach very well, right? And then the best instructors, which I was highlighting in that, I was saying, I am the guy that I feel like I can teach effectively, but I don't have a background. And so I can only take you so far. I can only take you to the fundamental level. But then there are guys that are like John Lovell, Warrior Poet Society on Instagram, in the Telluride group, Haley Strategic, Frank Proctor, Pat Mack.
Yeah, they shot a lot of people.
All these guys that have the experience and they can communicate. That's the happy medium that you want to find. And if you can find that instructor, take from them, take from them, take from them. So what I was doing was I was responding to the meme by reposting it and then basically saying, hey, listen, I want to just put it out there that this is where I'm at. So it's almost self-deprecating, right? And then highlight and lift up other instructors that I know on Instagram and that I know that I'm interested in taking from personally, so that I can move students and move people to take from those wonderful people.
Well,
One of
what
my
do you
goals
what do you
is-
think about? I got to interrupt you, but I'm sorry.
Sure,
But
go.
what do you think about sort of like military operators, special forces operators? What do you think about them teaching concealed carry permit holders? I mean, I've seen some. I don't go to these classes, obviously, but I've seen some guys wearing like a battle vest with a pistol on their chest rig,
Yeah.
and it says instructor on the back of the vest, and they're teaching a concealed carry class. I'm like,
Right.
what?
One of my biggest problems was I took from a guy who was a Marine for like 20 years, and he had an outside the waistband war belt, and he taught a concealment class. He had a war belt, and he threw a jacket over it, like a vest.
Yeah.
And then when he went back to his car after the class was done, he took off his war belt and then got a pocket 380 pistol and stuck it in his pocket. And I'm like, that's what I want to be learning. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's concealment. This is not concealment.
Well, to you, that created a perception problem.
Yes. And so to me, what it is there are people in the industry who use their background and their experience as their authority. And they have a lot of great tools that they've learned in the military that can help translate over into the streets. But most people are like, yeah, I've seen combat, but they were shooting at 400 yards with their rifle. They weren't shooting with a pistol or anything like that. Or some of them have, who knows? But you know what? I would still take that instructor over me if they can teach. And they have like Dom Rosso, who has an understanding of violence and has an understanding of reality and reality-based training. Take from him. I would totally lift those people up above myself.
Or what about legal training? As far as law with use of force,
Yeah.
or that sort of stuff.
I recommend that people take. So the only thing I say in class is, does this person possess the ability, opportunity, and intent to do me irreversible bodily harm and/or death? And once you've made that decision, then the gun comes out. I talk a little bit about aggravated assault and why, what can happen if you point your pistol at somebody and it's not a self-defense situation, things like that. But I primarily tell and encourage people, you've got to take a deadly force law class as it pertains to your state. Do not take what I'm saying as, Barrett said it. I always highly recommend. So I stay away from the legal stuff, but I think that
That's a very important component of what you're doing, yeah? Or it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think there are the people that are better equipped at teaching those things. And so I always try to point them to those people, point them to books, things like that. But I just want people learning as much as they can about the law so that they feel comfortable about pulling their pistol if they have to.
Yeah. Another meme you posted, I like this one. The best shooters don't talk, they shoot. This is why we do hour-long podcasts, by the way. What were you trying to... And then I think your caption was, you'd never grow any more trees by cutting down another man's forest. Like, you've got a lot of people cutting you down, yeah?
That's right.
A lot. I had people like, why do you even want that guy on the podcast? I'm like, he's interesting. He's interested. I'm interested.
Yeah. I would share that saying that you don't grow any more trees by cutting down another man's forest.
I love it.
Yeah, but you take his trees away, so you've kind of relatively equalized it, right?
What?
You can equalize the number of trees by cutting down his forest.
Yeah.
That's even better.
I guess you want to be technical about it, Ben.
If you want to be next level, you could steal his trees.
That's right.
Replant them.
Yes.
That sounds
What I was responding to was I think it was an isolated instance of a lot of people basically saying, hey, if the best people that I have come in contact with when it comes to shooting, people like JJ Racaza, people who are Max Michel, Travis Moise, or Moise, some of you guys, you will never find those people lording themselves over other people. You will never find those people arrogant, and they will never say, look how much better I am than you. And then they'll smear it all over your face. These people are not negative people. They're humble. They learn from everyone. They encourage people. They don't dissuade or discourage people. And that's why they have so much respect. And so the best shooters in the world are the people that are not tearing other people down. They are looking to build other people up and focusing all their energy, not on being negative, but on being a better shooter. So when I said the best shooters don't talk, they shoot, what I mean to say is that they don't talk crap about other people. They don't go looking for fights. They're not trying to be combative with other people. They're putting their energy into positive things. Because here's the thing. You don't get to be the best by being talented. You get to be the best by working on things, getting up and crushing everything every single day. It's the product of intentionality. So if you wake up today and say, you know what, I'm going to throw some negative shit all over the internet for people, then that's the mentality that you have. You're never going to be focused on what you need to do in order to get better. All you're going to do is...
Well, but excuse me for a moment.
Yeah.
You mentioned Shay, who's the nicest guy in the industry, so that's expectable that he's being like that. But you mentioned other competitive shooters too. But the thing is that we have something in common with you, competitive shooters that teach people how to shoot, is that we get shit from tactical people too. So I'm going to ask you, do you get nice things from tactical people? I do take it from real tactical operators, like the guys that are really humble, the guys that really get into nasty shit. And they even ask me to teach them how to shoot.
Yes.
But do you take good things from tactical people or none?
Yeah, some of the likes. So I got invited to go down to Fifth Group and to work with a whole bunch of Green Berets, people who are just like the top tier. And when I was down there, I found that nobody cared that I was a preacher. Nobody cared that I was 29 years old. Everyone was looking at me, sitting there going, what can I learn from you? They weren't sitting there going, I've killed 500 people. They weren't doing that. They were like, what do you got to offer me that I can take away? I like what you're saying there. I think that's really cool. Awesome. And these are the people that the shooting industry needs to model themselves after. One of my goals is to lift up these shooters and to say we need to be like these people. And because they don't have large platforms, because not a lot of people know who they are. And my goal is to say, listen, I can share with you the fundamentals. I can share with you how to pull out your gun from concealment, but the tactics you need to go learn from this person if you have the opportunity from, so on and so forth. One of the things that I find that my Instagram does is half my students in class, every single class I teach, have never taken a class before. They've never taken paid instruction. So where do they go from here? Don't come here and think that you gained everything. You need to go do this. You need to go do this. You need to go take from this person. And so my goal is to provide a segue for people to get into the shooting community by laying the groundwork, laying the foundation, and saying you need to go train with these people if you have the opportunity to, so on and so forth. So,
Yeah.
Quiet professional,
I took a
right?
couple of directions that way.
Well, the one thing I would say is that a lot of people, even if someone's a terrible instructor, a good student can still learn a lot.
Absolutely. You can, in the Bible, there are examples to be shunned and examples to be emulated, right? So King David, when he hits Goliath in the head with a stone and cuts off his head and holds up in front of the Philistine army, be like King David, right? Example to be emulated. When King David sees Bathsheba bathing on a roof, takes her and sleeps with her, and to conceal their pregnancy, sends her husband off to battle to die. Don't be like King David, right? So there are examples to be shunned and examples to be emulated, and you can learn anything from anybody, but you can't expect students to be good students, right?
No, you got to expect them to be idiots.
You got it.
I know. I have a lot of students. They're not.
Students are okay.
Most of them are okay. There's some idiots, and that's okay too. I work with them. I can speak idiot really well.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You don't speak anything else.
Oh well, I thought this was a fun podcast. This is
I
very
think
enlightening.
probably there's gonna be another one.
Yeah, this is going to make people angry. I think. I don't know why, but
Let's.
What are they going to get mad about?
what does it matter?
I don't know. There's always something to get mad about, I guess, if you want to get mad.
Yeah,
That's
of
what's
course.
fun of it.
That's why we do it.
He smiled too much.
Yeah,
His
well,
hair sucks.
that's
hair.
true. Yeah, the hair's not. It's not your best feature, but it's not your worst. I mean, my hair's terrible if you look at it. I got like Mark Hamill 1970s hair going on right now. It's not good. Oh, well, Barrett, thank you for coming on. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to say? I mean, this is where you plug Jesus, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
I do what I do for one purpose. I have an Instagram account, and I am who I am for one reason, and that's to share the love of Jesus. I believe that there's a heaven. I believe that there's a hell. I believe that people need to respond positively to Jesus, and the only thing I'm looking to do in my entire life is to glorify and uplift him. And if that means that I got to be famous by shooting fast things on the internet, and that's what people like, and I got to do some classes, make some money, and have a positive influence on people's lives to make them better people, I will do whatever I can. I will withstand mounds and mountains of hate in order to just lift up Christ, and that's just why I do what I do. So, like, I have an Instagram. All I do is pray with people. I try to take phone calls all the time from people on Instagram that are going through a rough time. I won't let my deeds be made known before men, but I just tried to be the best person that I can be to be uplifting. And if that means that I gotta go through some stuff in order to do that, I'll go through some stuff in order to do that. So I think that's it.
Oh, well, this was good. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And for regular listeners, if you have shooting questions you want answers to, go to bensteger.com, send me your questions. We'll answer them. And I think you should go to the True Exodus Instagram page. Barrett, you got to quit blocking haters. Those guys make the page, okay?
Okay. I'm going to try my best.
Or, I mean, post some more memes to get them going. I don't know. Like, that
Memes are
stuff's
okay.
fun. What's
I'm
that?
just not one of those
I like
guys
the
that's
meme.
go to the fire. So as long as I'm around, as long as I'm going to keep doing what I'm going to do, like right now, I'm moving into combative realm. So all I'm doing is learning Tony Blauer's spear system. All I'm doing is getting hands-on with people, striking, grappling. And so I'm starting to go into the realm of, I've been doing Krav Maga for like 6 years now, but I'm starting to go into the realm of these combative things, and I'm not sure I'm going to stir that pot all over again. So.
Are you ever going to do an MMA fight? You sure where this is going?
I'm sure I could get one.
I'm sure you could get a fight. Well, that would be
That's
awesome.
not a good idea.
Not a good idea. No, don't do that.
Right.
And don't take me to a gunfight, please.
No gunfights. All right. Well, thank you, Barrett, for coming on. Yes. Okay.